How is it going, bros? My name is Pewdiepie, and today we are going to discover that we live in a society.
Pewdiepie is a name that everyone knows. He started his channel in the early 2010s making Let's Play videos where he screamed like a banshee at horror games. At the time, he quickly became the most subscribed to channel on all of YouTube. But for a while, he was regarded as just a cringe Let's Player who made content for children. As time passed and he changed, so did his content. He made satirical videos, poking fun at the stereotypical YouTube content that a lot of other hypebeast type people were posting. And eventually, this evolved into creating commentary videos where he criticized the state of YouTube as a platform, as well as many creators who were getting into controversy themselves. But eventually, all of this took a back seat as he had already made a lot of money from YouTube and his priorities in life were seemingly changing. In 2019, he married his longtime girlfriend, Marcia, and from there he would continue making content, but it became less and less frequent with time, as he had made his money, like I said, and he didn't really seem to care to keep up with the daily upload grind anymore. This became even more apparent in 2023 when he announced the birth of his son, Bjorn. Most people were very happy for him. He was a man who conquered the world to become one of the most successful creators of all time, now having the opportunity to take a step back and raise a family, while still posting content, albeit whenever he wants to, as opposed to what would be best for the algorithm. But not everyone was happy for Pewdiepie. Baby Bjorn is already taking over Pewdiepie's YouTube channel. The natural response to that is to say, oh, that's cute. His kid is there. He's spending time with his kid while working. That's very sweet. Pewdiepie and Bjorn too. Jesus Christ. People on Twitter are savages. Dissing a literal infant because you hate his dad is another level of hating. I can only aspire to be there personally. But hey, this is probably a joke, right? Who cares really? This guy posted 4 pictures reading YouTubers who are good people with 4 people in the thumbnail. Markiplier, Mr. Beast, Pewdiepie, and Dan TDM. Well then, this person posts a tweet comparing Felix to literally Hitler and gets 130,000 likes doing it. More than the original post. And when all this started popping off, you had tweet after tweet of people explaining why Pewdiepie is actually the devil and deserves to live in misery for the rest of his life. And this isn't even like exaggerating, by the way. This is what they're saying. Pewdiepie is truly in his loving husband and father era. You know, karma's a bitch. It's not a myth, because if anyone deserves to suffer horribly, it's this Swedish piece of shit. Not sure what him being Swedish has to do with anything, but all right, go off, King. Let's hear your story. Pewdiepie is the first one who started all-out abuse of Indians as the staple mode of racism online. Ladies and gentlemen, new information just dropped. Pewdiepie literally created racism, okay? And that we have to thank him for, obviously. Oh, wise one, thank you for creating racism. He is the originator. He was in the lab cooking for months, for years even, okay? He threw in a bridge incident with some T-Series hate, and all of a sudden he had cooked up the finest concoction known as racism and hating Indians. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I don't think that that's true.
Who started racism? Yo, facts, I always want to know who started racism, man.
One singular YouTube channel is incapable of creating Indian hate online. And even if he was capable, everything Pewdiepie said about Indians was clearly in good fun and not like some serious crusade against Indians as a whole, against the country of India. Like, that's not what he did. India, bro. That didn't happen. But this person in particular is very down bad. They're very disturbed. I don't really know what's going on with them, but they're saying things like, there's no God, no religion, no previous lives, and all that crap. All these are superstitions by boomers and the government to enslave people. All right, Joker, calm down there. We live in a society, okay? I get it.
We live in a society.
With the way Pewdiepie normalized racism against Indians and dehumanization of them, he will rot in hell. This is truly a curse from heart. That Nazi deserves everything bad that will happen to him. Mark the words down. These people literally want him to rot in hell. They call him a Nazi, and their evidence is that he made some jokes about Indian people. I will never ever understand this kind of mentality. Holding on to jokes that he made 5 years ago because he was partaking in edgy comedy. The fact these people are still praying for his downfall when he didn't really do anything wrong is really telling. I hate to use this argument, but this is a genuine case where people who are dissatisfied with their lives are hating on someone successful and happy for no reason other than that they feel they deserve what he has. And they can't comprehend that he was able to engage with what we call some based epic dark humor to get there. Like, that is like short-circuiting their brain, okay? You have to be squeaky clean, PC the entire time, or else you're a piece of shit. But I was curious as to why people were so mad at this guy. Maybe I'm forgetting the undying waves of anti-Indian hatred that Pewdiepie created.
Can I talk to someone who can speak English?
Okay.
I transfer you
Are you good?
So back in the day, Felix was in a race to beat T-Series in subscribers. T-Series was an Indian YouTube channel that's run by some big corporation that just pumps out a ton of music videos and clips from movies. It's like the combination of like Vivo and like movie clips into this one giant channel. And it's an Indian, you know, speaking channel, right? It's really made for their viewers. And back in the day, that channel and PewDiePie were neck and neck in the race to 100 million subscribers to be the biggest YouTube channel of all time. So I went through these old videos to discover how truly evil PewDiePie is. Because I'm ready to call him out, frankly. I'm ready to destroy PewDiePie.
It's an Indian channel. It's an Indian channel. It's an India. I will fight you all. If you're an Indian watching this channel, you're welcome. How many people live in India? How is this even possible? Too many. The only way I can stay relevant is to get the Indians subscribing to me.
I mean, he definitely made jokes about the fact that T-Series was from India and there were a ton of Indians subscribing to them. But from what I can see, there's nothing really like egregious here. It's not even that bad. The worst thing I can find is this deleted video called Show Bobs and Vegana, where he reads cringy DMs from Indian men online.
And there's no one that can do this better than Indian men. Khan writes, send me your Vegana pic. Hi, are you effed at night? I want to kiss your Vegana. I want to kiss your Vegana for 2 hours and then put my 1 feet penis in your Vegana.
But this is just a funny trend that everyone has noticed online. I'm sorry, but there is absolutely a noticeable trend of Indian men being horny as hell on the internet and speaking in broken English trying to get the attention of white women, meaning men from India doing this. It's not all of them. It's not like every single one of them is doing it, but there's some small percentage of them that do that, and it's funny to laugh at. Everybody laughs at stereotypes. I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm gonna drop a little India lore on you guys, okay? Because I'm a cultural expert researcher, okay? I went to BuzzFeed University for this, and I've actually been researching this a little bit because I'm traveling to India in about 5 weeks, which is going to be crazy. So to an extent, India is still a somewhat conservative country around the topic of sex. Promiscuity is really not encouraged for women. In fact, it's sort of shamed and frowned upon outside of a few major cities which are more liberal around those subjects. As a result, there's a lot of horny dudes in India who want to bang, but it's culturally kind of frowned upon. Now, some of them do have sex, and the others ask girls online to show bobs and vagine.
I want to kiss your Vegana.
It's why whenever a white woman goes to India, you see giant crowds of people around them. There's like hundreds of videos like this.
I'm at the beach. I want to show you guys the beautiful view. God damn. I can't even see the water.
These men are so goddamn horny.
Send me, I want to see your boobs. I want to see.
I mean, think about it, guys, okay? I, as an American man living in the United States, have had years and years to look at white women and be in their presence. Indians, they don't have that shit.
Hey, shorty! I got to get your number. I normally edge to Duke, then I said Guysonet. But your level 10 yacht is mewing at me. So let me grab them skibbity digits.
Most of them will never even get to experience the pure pleasure of a white woman from North America. SSRIs, eating disorders, birth control, girls that listen to the worst music of all time, they don't get that, okay? They don't get the sweet embrace like we do, okay? So when the Indian man finds it, his mind simply cannot comprehend what he's seeing, and he basically explodes, and the way that comes out is saying, show bobs and vagine. And I don't blame them.
Because the great part of India is dealing with poor education, low literacy rates, low opportunities, and zero awareness, which would explain the broken English.
Shout out to the Gangsta Philosopher for filling me in 10 out of 10 video, GG. So at the time that the Subscribe to PewDiePie movement went on, obviously he had made some jokes about Indian men and, you know, he thought it was funny, but it wasn't like a widely anti-Indian movement, okay? The movement was not F India, destroy India. It was make me the most subscribed to channel of all time. Also, T-Series is Indian. Let's make some jokes about it, right? But on Reddit, since then, some of the criticisms people are making of PewDiePie are absolutely insane. Back in the day, the whole point of that movement was that PewDiePie was an independent creator who had built his channel from the ground up, just like being an entertaining guy that people connected with and people had like a personality to latch onto. He's like the quintessential YouTuber in that way. Then in came T-Series, a corporation that was run by hundreds of employees and didn't even post content like a YouTuber. It was a content farm. People hated that idea, so what did they do? They subscribed to PewDiePie en masse. But on Reddit, this is actually because racism. At least part of the thing that fueled Subscribe to PewDiePie was a desire to see a white man keep dominion over YouTube, that somehow a major war would be lost if an Indian channel became #1 on YouTube. I'm sure there were some people that believed that, maybe like Richard Spencer was a big PewDiePie fan back in the day, but overall, this idea that the majority of the movement, or even 1% of it, was fueled by hatred for Indian people is insane. You can make jokes about another race without hating them. I don't know if you guys know that. Like, you can do that. So this one song they point out is the song he made back in the day called Lasagna. It's the classic T-Series diss track. I hadn't listened to it in a while, and it was pretty catchy from what I remember, and I listened to it again, and it's not bad. But that doesn't matter, okay? The catchiness doesn't matter. Is it racist? In the lyrics, there are some lines that people have claimed are expressing anti-Indian sentiment and spreading Indian hatred. This line says, "But you, India, you lose, so best think you haven't won. I'm a blue-eyes white dragon, while you're just dark magician. Hold your defecation." Given the context of the song, this is clearly a dog whistle. Your language sounds like it came from a mumble rap community. You got a population of 1.32 billion. This conflates T-Series with India, which is problematic for reasons explained above. I feel like it's not really explained that well, actually. I read your post and I feel like it's dumb.
If you heard I said Indians don't have skibbity rays, watch this! Hey, shorty! I got to slide into your DMs!
Like, none of these messages rise to the level of Indians are evil people or I am white man so I deserve to stay on top. They're jokes about how T-Series is an Indian channel and Indian people are subscribed to the channel. The absolute worst thing he said, I guess, is the hold your defecation line, which is obviously a joke about Indians being street sh**ers. And not all Indians are, but at the risk of sounding a little bit, you know, here, this is a commonly accepted phenomenon, okay? It is. Like, there's articles about it. There's literally entire articles by the BBC. Like, the people are asking the question. They want to know. I feel like it's fine to make fun of that.
T-Series ain't nothing but lasagna.
Now, back in the day, there was still a small subset of people, however small it was, that used this T-Series thing as an excuse to unironically hate all Indian people, and they also used some of his edgy jokes as an excuse to be like, oh, PewDiePie is our guy, he's racist like us, he hates this group of people, right? Back in the day when all this was getting huge and Mr. Beast was buying billboards that said subscribe to PewDiePie on them, the meme got so big, it was absolutely huge. There were videos with millions upon millions of views. Every YouTuber was on the bandwagon saying subscribe to PewDiePie. And PewDiePie, in his infinite Hitlerism, decided to end the meme because he said he was uncomfortable with how the subscribe to PewDiePie meme was used during a tragedy.
To have my name associated with something so unspeakably vile has affected me in more ways than I let shown. I just didn't want to address it right away, and I didn't want to give the terrorists any more attention. I didn't want to make it about me, because I don't think it has anything to do with me. To put it plainly, I didn't want hate to win, but it's clear to me now the subscribe to PewDiePie movement should have ended then.
He would go on to say that the subscribe to PewDiePie meme was not anything harmful or hateful from his perspective, and while he did make some jokes at the expense of certain groups of people, it was just that humor, and he didn't want it to be taken farther than that.
Some people in some media has made this sub to PewDiePie thing about race or about politics or nationality, and I don't agree with that at all, and I want that to stop. This negative rhetoric is something I don't agree with at all, and I want that to stop. And to make it perfectly clear, no, I'm not racist. I don't support any form of racist comments or hate towards anyone.
Now, when he says the media here, he's referring to a few articles written by journalists at the time that attempted to paint the movement as a racist one. He had a lot of problems with the media back in the day in general. A lot of people calling him out for this comment or that comment he made, or this joke he made saying that he deserves to be deplatformed. This article in particular from Slate that I'm about to read calls him out for making jokes about Jews and paints him as if he is partially responsible for actual white supremacists and the shooter himself doing what they may do. That's why PewDiePie coming out against his own subscription slogan feels so huge. Not because PewDiePie's hands are clean, but because his willingness to draw the line at being associated with mass murder means there actually is a line. It's not just joking when the guy who says subscribe to PewDiePie goes on to take 50 innocent lives. They literally say here his hands are not clean and imply that he is partially responsible for this guy doing what he did. Which is, of course, insane! I thought we lived in a world where people have their own free will and can do what they want. PewDiePie had close to 100 million subscribers when Christchurch happened, okay? The vast majority of viewers who saw his videos did not develop a hatred of Jewish people or Indian people, nor did they perpetrate a mass tragedy where 50 people died. One guy did that, and if I had to guess, that guy probably used that slogan because he thought it would get the most attention possible on the situation after the fact. And maybe he delusionally believed that PewDiePie would support what he did. PewDiePie's racism is literally one of the reasons why it's so hard for YouTube creators to get money for their videos, ad revenue by the way. His racism had a lasting consequence on an entire career center. He can never get enough lashings for me. Lashings, wow, he needs lashings, okay. PewDiePie needs to be whipped, I guess, Jesus. PewDiePie's racism here, by the way, amounts to him saying the N-word once and some edgy jokes, but let's run with this argument a bit, okay? When YouTube was at its edgiest, where everyone was making jokes like this, not just PewDiePie, PewDiePie had hired some Indian men on Fiverr to put death to all, insert group name here, on a billboard. He stated he didn't think they would actually go through with it.
I am sorry. I didn't think they would actually do it. I feel partially responsible, but just I didn't think they would actually do it. What the fuck? I mean, I gotta give them 5 stars for an outstanding experience because at least they did what I asked.
Now, this kind of thing would definitely not fly today, but at the time, people wanted to push the boundary of what could be the edgiest thing possible, and YouTube was totally fine with it. I mean, PewDiePie's video about this stuff was monetized, so the idea that he should have known that things would change is dumb. The only responsibility I can place on him is with hindsight, with everything we know now, with everything that happened after. But as a result of his memes at the time, which nobody gave a fuck about, and many people were being worse than him, the Wall Street Journal published a number of articles placing pressure on large companies to drop their associations with PewDiePie. And this was very much a transparent effort by them. They specifically reached out to these companies and said, hey, PewDiePie said this, aren't you going to drop them? Because the Wall Street Journal knew that if they published an article saying Disney supports what PewDiePie did, then Disney's going to get in a bunch of shit. These articles would lead to advertiser boycotts. And the only person that I blame for this is the journalist involved. PewDiePie was not hurting anyone. He was not causing any trouble for anyone. He was making a lot of edgy jokes. And nobody that watched it at the time gave a fuck out of millions of people. The only people that cared were a few journalists who were mad about it. At the time, a journalist named Joe Bernstein even tried to call PewDiePie a racist, which was then pointed out to be an out of context clip where PewDiePie actually didn't do anything wrong at all. Here's the clip.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, hey man, I really appreciate your content. You've gotten me through some tough times, and I respect the
Justin Wang writes, Joe is being deceptive. Here's the actual context. PewDiePie laughs because the guy runs up and shoots a player that's in the middle of telling PewDiePie how much he means to him, cutting off the nice speech. People were then easily able to find out of context posts from Joe where he looked pretty bad himself, and they even found a post from one of the writers of the original articles from the Wall Street Journal, who said, well, obviously I'm not counting jokes about black people, those are just funny.
What do you mean by that?
It's very clear that these people are hypocrites, and this is a disingenuous call out by these media outlets, specifically by the writers specifically, to make PewDiePie look bad and target YouTube's advertising platform, and they are the one that caused issues, not PewDiePie. Now, what you can call out Felix for is saying the N-word on stream after all that happened. Not because I care that he did it, but more because he was in a huge position where an advertiser boycott had just happened, and there was a very real possibility that something like that could happen again. But you know what? We all have a bridge moment from time to time. People are comfortable calling out PewDiePie endlessly, but for some reason they refuse to call out Markiplier. Now, I bet a lot of you are wondering if I have evidence for this claim that some random person posted on Twitter, and I have the perfect answer.
My source is that I made it the f up.
But in all seriousness, the idea of hating PewDiePie for anything I've shown here is absolutely insane. There are a ton of YouTubers and comedians who have made very edgy jokes in that same vein, and none of these people even seem to care about that. They single him out. Or maybe they actually do care, in which case they're even more stupid. Hopefully someday people come around to the fact that this is like and they're being brain rotted about this, and people can make jokes. Everyone makes jokes about serious situations and subjects. They just pick and choose what you're allowed to make a joke about or allowed to call out based on what personally offends them. Very few people are actually consistent on this issue, and it's really, really frustrating. I don't like it. But yeah, PewDiePie hate in 2024 is really dumb. These people suck. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all in tomorrow's video where I put this on my butt again. Goodbye. This time it's full, so it's different.